Hello, my name is Joseph Perez, and today I will be going over the implications and limitations of our proposed solutions and strategies of tackling the issue that we've been discussing in this presentation. So when we think about implications, we think about the conclusions that can be drawn from something, even though it's not explicitly stated. The implications in this instance would be about vaccines and community efforts to raise awareness and break the stigma, potentially breaking the stigma behind vaccines. So a couple of implications that myself and my group have gathered together are as follows. One, we don't really have control of tax dollar allocations. A lot of us, if not most of us, over the age of 18, are taxpayers. As such, we would like hopefully, ideally, we would like our tax dollars to be recycled back into our community, into our society, to further help us and our communities because it is our money. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. Governments, whether it's local governments, federal governments, we don't have control of our tax money's allocation, so they can be going to services that aren't needed or are really unnecessary when they could be directed to something that directly benefits our community and our society. But we all know how that goes, and unfortunately, that's not always the case. A lot of people argue, well, hey, you can vote for an elected official that aligns with your ideology or is more progressive, whatever line you're on. But we've seen time and time again that doesn't always happen. So that could be a limitation, potentially, of our proposed solutions and strategies. Another limitation would be the funding for community outreach. So previously in this presentation, we've mentioned community outreach efforts that would be part of our solutions and strategies. So these community efforts would be, like the vaccine hotline, or going door to door, knocking on door to door in neighborhoods, asking if anybody needs any information, if they have any questions about vaccines, hearing them out. There's not a lot of funding for that. This movement that we would be proposing would be solely on a community volunteer-based effort. Whoever has the time, whoever believes in our mission, goal, and statement, and whoever wants to really help out the community and others alike, it wouldn't be funded. Unfortunately, we would have to set around times. It'd be very hectic, very chaotic, very disorganized organization. Granted, if we had public funding, local, state funding, or federal funding, this could definitely be a service to our community that a lot of us really need. A lot of low-income individuals, a lot of uneducated individuals don't know where they can go get tested. They don't know if a vaccine benefits them. They don't know where they can go get a vaccine for free. So all these services that we proposed earlier in this presentation, if we had funding for it, this can be an amazing service that our government should be providing to its community, to our communities, given that it is our tax money that funds our governments. Another limitation could be bodily autonomy. We can only reach a certain audience, and after that, even if a lot of them do know the pros and cons of a vaccine, or if they know the straight, cold, hard facts of what could happen potentially if you don't get a vaccine, a lot of them, it just boils down to bodily autonomy. It's my body, it's my choice. I choose to do this, I choose not to do this. So, of course, like I said, we can only reach a certain audience, and the other folks, they're going to do what they want to do. And even if we did reach them, it's still their choice. So that's another limitation that could be that can potentially apply to our solutions and strategies. So, and as well, we can't really control the counter media. Media in general, whether it be on national television, local news, that's all funded. And community-based volunteer efforts aren't really funded. Like I mentioned, it's solely volunteer-based. We don't really bring that much money unless it's by donations, and that's really not much. As opposed to media, you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have Twitter, you have local news. They all have money. They're all funded some way or another, and they're able to project their news, whether it's actual news or misinformation. They're able to project it nationwide, locally. However, they're able to put it on billboards. They're able to put it on, windows outside of a business, what have you. there's only so far that a community-based effort can reach. So that'd be another limitation, trying to be competitive against an actual funded organization giving out information or not giving out information. So those are our limitations. When we think about the implications, as stated, an implication is you're thinking about the conclusions that can be drawn from something, although it's not explicitly stated. So a few implications of our proposed strategies and solutions of tackling the issue of vaccines and the skepticism behind it would be, we'd be dismantling, hopefully, ideally, dismantling individualism and or the individualistic parenting style. So as we mentioned before, a lot of parents are pressured to doing things alone, for their family, by their family, me, myself, and I. If we got it, forget everybody else. However, that's not how things should work. We should be able to communicate together, work together, and show compassion and concern for others' families and their lives. Because once we do that, a lot of families, a lot of people will be more inclined to reciprocate that onto us. And, you know, you're going to be passing it along, and the more people we can reach with that compassion and showing understanding and caring for other people and the health of their family, that extends a long way. And hopefully it'll just be not a slippery slope, but like a domino effect to happening community-wide, locally, federally. That'd be a great implication of our strategy. As well, lastly, the process will be slow. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next week or the next year. But it will be slow, but it will move us to a culture of investment in each other's health. As I mentioned before, when you feel like you're taken care of, when you're feeling that like you're not fending for yourself, for only you and your family, and you feel like everybody actually genuinely cares about the health and the well-being of others in your society, in your environment, your community, your neighborhood, it creates a better non-hostile environment, and you're more inclined to want to help others, not just yourself, not just your family. As well, if and when the next pandemic does occur, which it probably will occur, we'll be ready. We'll know exactly what to do. We'll be ready to get the vaccines. We'll be ready to quarantine. However the COVID-19 pandemic happened, we'd be able to do the opposite of it. Instead of 600,000+ people dying in America, which is one of the most advanced countries in the world, 600,000 people unfortunately did pass away from the disease. So in the event that there's another pandemic in our future, with our proposed solutions and strategies, we'll definitely be able to tackle it, definitely be able to just, obviously it's not going to happen quickly after that pandemic does potentially hit, but we'll know what to do, we'll be ready, and we won't be guessing, and more than 500,000 people will not have to die when that does occur. Thank you.